All right, this video is for my brick and mortar students. That we got page 2 cut off from the short story essay. Now, on page 2, just to start with a few things first, it looks like with the formatting stuff and then the reading list. Make sure you print it out. I'm actually going to attach it to the email that this video link is on. But let's start with the story list. As I said in class, these are all accessible online. Most of them are pretty significant length because I want to make sure that you guys have enough stuff to talk about in your papers. The one that's contained in your textbook is A Jury of Her Peers. If you go to Project Gutenberg, which is just www.gutenberg.org, you can get the Edgar Allan Poe story, Fall of the House of Usher, Legend of Sleepy Hollow by Washington Irving, which is kind of a fun story with Halloween coming up. The Curious Case of Benjamin Button by F. Scott Fitzgerald, famous American writer. Also, there was a Brad Pitt movie made with it a few years ago. Or The Garden Party by Catherine Mansfield. Now, on the site onlineliterature.com, you can find the story To Build a Fire by Jack London. He's a Northern Californian writer, primarily lived in Oakland, and wrote a lot about the Alaskan gold rush that was occurring in the 1890s and around the turn of the century. The Celebrated Jumping Frog of Calaveras County by Mark Twain. Calaveras County is in California as well. But you know, Mark Twain is one of our more well-known American writers. Dracula's Guest by Bram Stoker. He wrote the original book, Dracula. Yellow Wallpaper by Charlotte Perkins Gilman. The Rocking Horse Winter by D.H. Lawrence. And I've provided the URL there, and since there's going to be an attachment to this message, you'll be able to just copy and paste that URL, so you won't have to worry about trying to find it. Okay, so that's the story list. Now on the individual work, you're going to be doing 3 main things, 4 in total, but 3 main things that are worth 15 points each on your individual work. The first one is a discussion of a theme that you've discovered in the work. This needs to be a minimum of 200 words, so most of a double-spaced page. Clearly illustrates the author's take on one of the major themes the work explores. Now, this is a theme explored in the short story that you guys have picked. It's focused on the issues in the story, not the issues in the modern world. You'll have plenty of time to discuss that in the essay. The essay, you'll focus on how the themes that are presented in the work relate to the modern world. But for this part of your assignment, I want you to discuss how they're just working in that short story. Give 3 examples of stories, films, or television shows, other than the one they're using for the group paper, that explore the same theme in 2 or 3 sentences, explain why. When I've done group projects, I've had a similar activity like this. By far, this is the one that people skipped the most, so make sure that you're including that in your individual work, because it's a good chunk of these 15 points here. It's turned into Canvas as part of a properly formatted Word document. Now, a lot of students will ask me on this paper, can I turn in 3 files? Can I turn in or do you want me to turn in 1 file? As long as all your work's there, I don't mind if it's multiple files. I would prefer 1 file, but you're not going to be graded down if it's more than 1 file. Okay, so that's the first part. Basically, a good-sized paragraph or a half a page or so on a theme that's going on in the work, and some examples that you see in other stuff that exhibit this theme. The second thing you're going to turn in is a draft introduction or conclusion. Now, I'm going to try and make the groups of 4. You're turning in either an introduction or a conclusion. So you guys are going to have to work together as a group to create an outline for the paper before you start doing this individual work. I can't stress this enough. I stressed it in class, I know. But as a group, you need to outline the essay overall first before you can really do your individual work. Now, say you have 4 people in the group. 2 people would write an introduction, 2 people would write a conclusion, and you either would take the best out of those 2, or you would combine those 2 into the group's introduction, and the group will have to decide how you want to do that. In the individual work, there must be at least one of each. So again, if there's 4 people in the group, there needs to be a minimum of 3 of one and 1 of the other. And it must be different from everyone else's in the group. So if you do have 2 people in the group writing their best shot at an introduction, they need to look different. Okay, you also need to include a body paragraph, and this starts on the bottom of page 2 and goes on to page 3, which many of you already have. Include a draft paragraph of the essay. Again, I can't emphasize it enough. You have to have an outline of the paper before you can start writing these things, so everybody knows what they're assigned to write, what paragraph they need to write to fit the thesis and the overall ideas that you're trying to express in the paper. Use clear examples from the story to support your ideas, and your sample paragraph needs to be at least 6 inches in length. It doesn't have to be the final paragraph that ends up in the paper. You can edit it, you can improve it, you can expand it, you can add more examples. But for this work, it needs to be at least 6 sentences. And then, as I talked about in class, we're going to do a group evaluation. And this is going to be anonymous, where you evaluate your group members, including yourself. So if somebody doesn't pull their work in the group, they will be penalized for it. Not only on this, but also on the 100-point group paper, you could lose points on that. So as long as you're doing your work, it's not going to be an issue. So make sure you do complete the work that you need to for the essay. All right, that's about all I have. If you have any questions or have anything to add, let me know. And like I said, I will, in this email, attach the assignment sheet so you can print out page 2 to have everything with you. All right, thank you.